Everyone. It's late on a Friday night, but we're still going. My name is Gwen, and today we're talking about the quantum abyss. So, at the microscale, the universe makes sense. Through a curveball, and it travels in a predictable arc. Drop an apple, and it falls to the ground. But if you zoom in close enough, welcome to the quantum realm where intuition just goes to die. Let's take a look at what we call the observer effect, the Broglie wavelength. And let's decode it. Can you see the little upside down Y thing? That's called the lambda, and it represents a wave. And P actually represents the momentum of a physical object. This equation mathematically forces solid matter and invisible waves to be exactly the same thing. And it's the equation that physically powers electron microscopes, allowing scientists to see individual atoms by treating solid matter as a wave by obstruction. So in 1801, Thomas Young fired light through two parallel slits on a piece of paper, and instead of two lines of light on the wall, he saw an interference pattern, and the light was actually acting like a wave. But when modern physicists fired single electrons through the slits one by one, the interference pattern still appeared. Why? So let's talk about superposition. This is the quantum superposition principle. That pitchfork symbol is psi, right? You see, it looks like a little trident, and it represents a mathematical ghost, a probability wave. The equation simply says that the total ghost is made up by adding all of the different possible realities, right? Where you see C psi xt and C psi xt too, right? So at exactly the same time, and it proves that reality is completely undefined until the final collision. So if you think about the multiverse map in everything, everywhere, all at once, all possibilities existing simultaneously. So quantum computer engineers use this exact equation to build processors that can hack unbreakable passwords in seconds by calculating millions of possibilities simultaneously. So the single electron was going through both slits at the same time and interfering with itself, and the electron was not a physical object. It's a mathematical cloud of probabilities and exists everywhere and nowhere until the exact moment it hits a wall. And this is what we call the collapse or the Born rule. So the P stands here now, the big P, for probability. And those absolute value lines means that we are mathematically forcing the quantum ghost psi to become a real physical number. It is the mathematical trigger that forces a ghost to become real. And hardware engineers use this formula to predict the exact physical location of electrons in the microchips inside your smartphone. So here's the terrifying part. When physicists put a detector at the slits to see which slit the electron actually goes through, the interference pattern vanishes. The electron stopped acting like a wave and acted like a physical particle. So just by looking at it, they changed its fundamental nature, and it's like the weeping angels in Doctor Who, of which I actually highly recommend you watch. The universe literally freezes the moment you look at it. So, the mere act of observation caused by probability wave to collapse is called the washer, right? The universe literally refuses to show its hand while it's being watched or observed, and reality only becomes real because you're looking at it. Without an observer, the universe remains a blurry mathematical ghost and it just exists all around you. So we're looking at what we call quantum entanglement or the Bell state equation. And this is, can you see the weird, if you see the bracket symbols, they're called direct brackets, KET. They are just quantum cages that hold the state of a particle. So this equation shows two particles locked in the exact same mathematical cage. If you see the cage where the straight lines are, and what happens to one instantly happens to the other. It is the exact mathematical foundation of the quantum internet, and theoretical physicists and global cryptographers are actively right now trying this equation today to build unbreakable communication networks that instantly teleport data across the globe. So immune to any hacker, and Einstein famously hated this concept, but it actually gets worse because if you entangle two particles, they share this exact same probability cloud. So if you separate them by a million light years and observe one, the other one collapses into a definitive state instantly. So this is what we call spooky action or the CHSH inequality. And it looks super simple, with the straight lines and the S and stuff. But physicists use this profound equation in modern laboratories to prove that the universe is fundamentally non-local. It means that particles are truly communicating telepathically. So information travel faster than the speed of light. And Einstein calls it spooky action at a distance. He went on to his grave believing that quantum mechanics was incomplete. And it kind of is true because the math suggests that the universe was deeply, fundamentally broken. Yeah. And so we'll take a look at the multi-walls interpretation. And this is the universal wave function. The giant zigzag symbol of sum, right? Sigma means add everything up. And this equation mathematically adds up every single possible timeline to one universal wave, and it's the mathematical justification for the multiverse. Cosmologists use this framework to map out the branching structure of cosmic history, not a unibrow. What if there is no collapse? So just like Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse, what if every single quantum decision creates an entirely new universe and yet another Spider-Man movie? So, infinite realities is where we're at in one universe where the electron goes through the left slit, and in another universe, it goes through the right. So, every quantum interaction fractures reality into infinite parallel branches. You're only aware of the one you're currently experiencing. You're a single thread in an infinite cosmic web. So, maybe, at some points, you're always right. That's the great part about it. So, thanks so much for watching. The next episode in this series is Chaos Theory, where we will deliver and discover why a butterfly in Brazil can mathematically guarantee a hurricane in Texas. See you there.